Now, being a mother of a child with disability can be a burden. But what happens when that mother or caregiver is also suffering from a chronic medical condition and needs special care, even much more than the child? In the following report, Joy News' Beryl Ernestina Richter tells the sad story of a 40-year-old Georgina Yawa Ankra, whose life is fading away due to diabetes.
My name is Georgina Yawa Ankra. I have 2 children. The last born is 12 years, but I have forgotten the age of the older one. My mother and brothers stayed here with me. They are all dead.
That is Georgina Yawa Ankra struggling to tell me about herself. She lives in one of the poor, densely populated communities in Dome in the Greater Accra region. Yawa claims she was diagnosed with diabetes many years ago. She looks much older than her actual age, her hair falling off strain after strain, every layer of her skin saggy and riddled with wrinkles. The frail-looking woman is unable to do anything for herself. Almost every day, she drags herself to the street to beg for alms.
This is the room Yawa sleeps in. She shares this same room with her teenage daughter, Nyonyo. This room is filled with lots of things, from clothes packed in bags, bowls, basins, which looks untidy, and even cobwebs. Days when her daughter is not around, it means Yawa has to drag herself on her buttocks to even pick something from the chair or the floor. This is the life Yawa and her daughter have been confronted with for the past 9 years. A life of misery, a life of abject poverty.
Life has been tough for Yawa. Money to access treatment for her condition has been a challenge. She has almost no teeth in her mouth, her tongue weakened with pain that muffles her speech. Yawa has been battered by poverty, and even more so where she lays her head to rest from life's troubles is in a sorry state. Dust, cobwebs, and thick filth have enveloped the room. She appears to have been cut off from her family because of her condition. Grace Damashi is her neighbor who has been here long enough to witness the suffering of the 40-year-old.
Diabetes. I
heard her condition is diabetes, and this has made her crippled. She drags herself to the streets to beg for alms. She was a very beautiful lady and very hardworking, who was also very neat. We, her neighbors, sometimes provide support to her. She does everything in her room, cooks, urinates, and even defecates there.
Yawa's woes have deepened because her second daughter, Nyonyo, lives with Down syndrome. She is unable to provide and care for her teenage daughter because of her helpless state.
The friend was saying,
okay.
What are you saying? 6 years.
Yes.
For a long time, Nyonyo was miserable, lonely, and always looked dirty till a teacher in the neighborhood found her roaming on a school compound.
The first time I saw her, she didn't know how to bath. So for the first year, I was bathing for her every day. But now, when she comes and I'm in class, she would go for the bucket, fetch the water, and then bath for herself. Sometimes, if she's very dirty, then she cannot do it on her own, but she tries. For now, she knows I have to take bucket. She knows where she takes her bath every day. She knows.
The 3 weeks that Greater Accra was placed under lockdown in 2020 to help contain COVID-19 pandemic were the most difficult days of her life.
Because it was a lockdown, I was not visiting. But periodically, I call teachers who live around Domi to check on her for me.
Gloria Sari is a special education officer with the Dom Circuit. According to her, Nyonyo's consistent and unkempt appearance to school aroused the curiosity of the teachers to trace the whereabouts of the parents.
We met her one day on the school compound. Lots of children gathered around her, making fun of her. That is how come we came home and found the mother bedridden. Then at least she could see, she was telling us she was hungry. It was pathetic that day to come and meet someone in a dirty environment, excuse me to say, not being able to do anything for herself, and she telling us not to take the girl away from her because she's the one who takes care of her. It was pathetic. Since she's a girl child, and the way she is, once she's full and she gets anywhere that is shady, she lies down, she's off. And any rascal can do anything to her. That is our fears. But once she's in the community, we believe the social welfare will have to come in to help her.
All her dreams seemed to be slipping away by the day, and so is life itself. Every day is a painful endurance, and the thought that she may not enjoy a future with her daughter depresses her.
I want God to help me take care of my children before I die. I need help to walk.
A desperate cry to be lifted out of this misery. For now, only time will tell if Yawa's situation would get better so she and her daughter Nyonyo can live fulfilling lives. Beryl Ernestina Richter's report for Joy News.
We're happy to take your help for Yawa. If you're tasked to support, you can get in touch with the news team or the producer of this report, Beryl Ernestina Richter. That's the number there, 0248 196 357. That's 0248 196 357. Let's get on Zoom and have a very quick discussion with Dr. Ernest York. He's a consultant physician and endocrinologist, I beg your pardon, at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. He's also a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Medical School. Doc, thank you very much. For Georgina Yawahu's story we just watched, what do you think are the best and sustainable ways to support someone who is medically in this medical position? Where do we start from?
Good evening to you and good evening to your viewers. And as I listen to her, the story as it's told, it's just that of a heartbreak. And for us in the medical field, and if you practice for that long, it's not an unfamiliar story. We come across such stories, periodically, and a lot of the time, because the system is not set up to deal with such cases in a manner that is desirable with the health workers, sometimes take our hands out in our pockets and then try and support these people. Yes, we invite the social welfare from time to time, or if there's any institutional support that's available, we call on such support, but it's always woefully inadequate. And I remember I lead my team, and when we are doing rounds, sometimes I will say, hey, sorry, actually, you've been a long time since you've been to church, and this is the time to show love to somebody so that God will also have some empathy or sympathy.
And by showing love,
it's a familiar story.
Yeah, by showing love, back to the question, which is, what will be the next action to take medically to help her? Assuming someone is willing to pay for that, what will be the steps to take?
I mean, we are told that she has diabetes.
Yeah.
We need to ascertain that. It may be true, may not be true. Looking at her physically, she's somebody who looks chronically unwell. We are told that she's 40 years. If that is true, then she looks far older than how she ought to look ordinarily. She looks lost weight, she's darkened and all. And they could be a sign of poor diabetes control, I must confess. However, diabetes alone is not the only possible cause of such, looks or severe weight loss. Cancers, certain severe infections like tuberculosis and all others. So the first step will be that some form of thorough medical examination needs to be done to ascertain the veracity of the truth, whether it's indeed TB, diabetes or not. But beyond that, you know, she would, if it's confirmed, what it means that it's poorly controlled. Poorly controlled diabetes will lead to breakdown of the muscle and tissues of the body, because the chemical that builds up the tissue, one of them is insulin, which is deficient or doesn't work well in diabetes, and that must be catered for, either using drugs that she would swallow or she would inject, you know, in the insulin. So the first step is to establish that, do a thorough medical checkup, and then take it from there.
Right. Dr. York, thank you so much for your time. Dr. Ernest York is a consultant physician, endocrinologist at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital.